You know that person who's always early? We usually just write them off as super organized or, maybe a little anxious. But what if I told you that habit is not a personality quirk at all? Today, we're going to do a deep dive into how being chronically early can actually be a deeply ingrained psychological skill, and its origins are probably not what you think.
So be honest. Is this you? Or maybe it's your friend, your partner, your boss. You're the one who's already sitting at the table when everyone else arrives, the one who always pads their travel time with an extra 15 minutes for that just-in-case traffic that never happens. You probably just think it's about being polite or organized, right? Well, what if it's way, way deeper than that?
I mean, these are the labels we slap on them, right? They're punctual, they're organized, super responsible. They seem to have it all together. And yeah, okay, maybe a little bit anxious, but it seems like a good kind of anxiety, the kind that gets things done. But these are just the surface-level judgments we all make.
Let's just hit pause here for a second and ask a really important question. What if this has nothing to do with time management? What if this entire behavior is actually a super sophisticated strategy your brain cooked up a long, long time ago just to keep you safe?
And here is where everything flips on its head. Being early, well, it's often a defense mechanism. It's your nervous system literally trying to get ahead of chaos. See, the real danger it's trying to avoid isn't being late for a meeting. It's the stress of the unknown, the potential traffic jam, taking a wrong turn, that awful feeling of losing control. Arriving early is just a brilliant way to wipe all those variables off the board.
Okay, so that's the what. It's a nervous system response. But the big question is, why? How does a brain learn to see unpredictability as a danger so potent that it builds a lifelong habit to avoid it? Well, the answer, as it so often does, takes us back to our earliest experiences.
To really find the source code for this behavior, we have to look back at childhood. Our brains are incredibly adaptive, especially when we're young. They learn how to best survive whatever specific environment they're in. And this means being early isn't something you're born with, it's a strategy you learn.
And the key idea here is something psychologists call a high contingency environment. Just think of it as a place where the rules aren't just firm, they're totally rigid. And the consequences for breaking them, they're swift and they're often pretty severe. There's just not a lot of wiggle room, no room for mistakes or second chances. So in an environment like that, a kid's brain goes through some very specific training. First, you live with these hard and fast rules, which teaches you to be on the lookout for potential problems or threats at all times. To stay safe, you naturally start thinking 2-3 steps ahead of everybody else. And pretty soon, you've mastered the art of spotting and avoiding conflict before it can even start.
So what it all boils down to is this. Your brain develops one simple core directive. Stay ahead of the chaos at all costs. Being early, being overprepared, these stop being preferences. They become absolutely essential tactics for controlling your world and making sure nothing bad or unexpected can happen.
All right, now that we kind of get the origin story, we can look at this whole thing in a completely different light. It's time to shift our perspective, to stop seeing it as just a weird personality quirk and start recognizing it for what it is, a highly developed survival skill.
So let's reframe this, shall we? What we might call anxious is actually a highly tuned ability for threat scanning. What looks rigid from the outside is actually a very strategic mind at work. And what we dismiss as overplanning is really a deep protective instinct kicking in. It's not a flaw, not at all. It's a strength that was born from experience.
So if you're that person who is always early, I want you to really hear this. It is not a character flaw. It's not some sign of anxiety that you need to fix. It is the very architecture of a survival strategy that your brain built brick by brick just to keep you safe. Honestly, it's a testament to how resilient you are. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Now that we've looked at being early through this new lens, what other habits or quirks in your own life might actually be hidden survival traits? Clever strategies designed by your own mind to help you navigate your world.